All right, good evening. I'd like to open the Planning Commission for October 27th, 2022. Mr. Shivers, can we have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Fellers. Present. Commissioner Fischetti. Commissioner Hackle.
Here.
Commissioner Hughes.
Here.
Commissioner Leeson.
Here.
Commissioner Long.
Here.
Commissioner Nichols. Chairman Stewart.
Here.
Commissioner Watson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
One point of clarification, Commissioner Nichols is in the room, but since tonight's case is his application, he's spending the entirety of the meeting essentially in the audience and not up here at the platform. So with that, we have item 2, approval of minutes. Everyone have a chance to review the minutes from the September 22nd, 2022 meeting. Any adjustments or corrections?
I make the motion to approve as written.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I need to make sure that I am on the right piece here. All right, item 3, new business. Item number 1, case number 22-01-SUP, public hearing for the consideration of a request for a special use permit for an 8-foot fence at 1859 North Terrace Road. Mr. Shivers, would you present the request, please?
Yes, sir. Our standard fence regulations limit backyard fence heights to 6 feet, which is pretty common. You'll see that across the city. However, our fence regulations also state, and I quote, "The Planning Commission may, as a special use, authorize the construction of a fence no higher than 8 feet if the Planning Commission finds that public welfare is served." And that is a request tonight. Mr. Nichols, the applicant's backyard, dips down pretty low in the back, and so this is to help with his privacy. As you may have seen in my memo, the special use permit criteria is really tailored to special land uses and/or special structures. However, tonight there's no particularly large structures proposed or a change in land use. It is just the fence, so not too many of those criteria apply. It's our opinion that this should be recommended for approval. And for a little bit more detail, I'd like to invite up Mr. Nichols to talk a little bit more about it.
Okay. Need your name and address for the record, please.
Larry Nichols, 1859 Terrace Drive. And I have a pool in my backyard, and the neighbor behind me has a pool in his backyard. And both of our properties, as they go towards the rear of the property, kind of slope down, and our pools are set pretty high. So I decided to put in a fence. I'm putting in a horizontal fence, and to get it to really look like right, I kind of need to put it so it's up a little higher in the back, 1 for privacy and 2 for aesthetics. Instead of making it kind of every 2 or 3 feet go up, I'm going to keep it at kind of a level for 10, 15 feet or so, then kind of jump it up, and it won't go above 8, and it's probably going to be around, for the most part, 7.5 foot, maybe 7.5 foot.
Okay. What are you trying to hide, Mr. Nichols?
Exactly right. Well, the wind for one, it does
Okay.
howl across there. So.
Understood. All right. Anything else you'd like us to know about before we open the public hearing?
I think that's it.
Okay. Thank you. All right. At this time, we will open a public hearing regarding this case. Any member of the public wishing to speak may come forward now and address this matter. And since Mr. Nichols is the only person in the audience, unless someone comes barging through the door here in the next 12 seconds, maybe 8, I think the formality of a public hearing can now be closed. Item C, discussion by Planning Commission. Thoughts, concerns, questions?
I have a question, Mr. Nichols. You say that the fence on the ends, it's going to be at the height of the other fences, so it won't be sticking up out of character, and then it'll kind of raise in the middle, or
I'm the only fence with the privacy that I'm adjacent with. Everything else is gonna be like the wrought iron fence.
Okay,
And the only one that I'm adjacent is the landowner behind me.
okay.
And he's the one that actually did submit an email.
Yeah,
Mr. Shivers.
I saw that in there, that he had no objections. My question was just that if it met another privacy fence on the end, would it therefore be 2 feet above that? Or would the ends taper down or something for aesthetics?
I would be, well, I guess if someone did build up to mine, it would be less than two. I'm not quite 8 foot along the back now, so,
Okay.
but right now, there's just, the wrought iron fence
Okay,
that would adjoin to me. But if they did build, they would be, unless they got one of these use permits, they would be under me, yeah.
all right.
Other questions, concerns? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I move to recommend approval of case number 22-01-SUP, a request by Tony Nichols for a special use permit to allow a fence up to 8 feet in height on the property located at 1859 North Terrace Drive, for the reasons set forth in the staff recommendations and heard at the public hearing.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second that motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Shivers, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Leeson,
Yes.
Commissioner Long,
Yes.
Chairman Stewart,
Yes?
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Fellers,
Yes.
Commissioner Hackler,
Yes.
Commissioner Hughes.
Yes,
All right, motion to approve passes 7-0.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Shivers, when can Mr. Nichols expect this case to be decided upon by the city commission?
It will be November 21st. We will follow up to ensure they're having a meeting that week. I believe that's the Thanksgiving week, but I'll follow up with you.
Okay. Very good. All right, item 4, old business.
No old business.
Item 5, staff items.
No staff items today.
Okay, I've got a question about, if I may, the Cody Kinder case from last month. Became aware of deed restrictions that were unbeknownst and not presentable by Mr. Cutzinger, certainly not presentable by you. We didn't have the information. Talk a little bit about how that process sorted itself out. What was the general nature of those covenants or deed restrictions, and how did it play out with the city commission?
Sure. So I had a chance to talk with David Stewart the day after the meeting. So I'll brief you guys. That night there was some talk about deed restrictions on Mr. Kinder's lot. Roger Cutzinger, representing the applicant, had said that night that the title company was not able to locate any and that they were in the Kinder addition to the south. So the next morning, Mr. Cutzinger came to my office, said that that night, Mr. John Grange, one of the neighbors, had submitted to him a copy of deed restrictions that did, in fact, apply to Mr. Kinder's property. Those restrictions did not present any new facts to the case. They actually supported Mr. Kinder and everything he said as far as it limits the property to one house. The prairie must be maintained, whether it's mowed or burned. Trees had to be removed to maintain the prairie, and fire issues. So that next morning, I did talk to Mr. Stewart a little bit about it. The facts behind the case weren't changed. What we did do is we submitted those with the city commission for their review, and as far as I'm aware, it wasn't discussed too much at the city commission and was unanimously approved. So in the days leading up to this, interestingly enough, Mr. Grange had commented in one of the emails we received that there were deed restrictions on it. Those weren't provided to us. Mr. Cutzinger was not able to find those restrictions to the title company before the meeting, and the applicant, Mr. Kinder, also maybe just slipped his mind, didn't provide them either. But at the end of the day, they did support exactly what the applicant set up here. Yeah, that Mr. Tom Kinder had put those restrictions in for both Mr. Bookout's lot and Cody Kinder's lot to restrict them to one house apiece and only one house. And on top of that, there's quite a few maintenance requirements as well, so they were pretty strict deed restrictions.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Shivers, I'm also recalling maybe spring or summer. I think it was probably after our March meeting, and it slipped my mind from the length of time we didn't meet over the summer. But do I recall in a newsletter that that maybe the city commission is going to initiate an update to the comprehensive plan?
There was a long run that we didn't meet. Most recently that I'm aware of, there has been a number of conversations at the staff level. It's been my long-running recommendation that we, like most cities with less than a few 100,000 population, start planning for the funding and look at consultants to hire that can get us through the comprehensive update process. It's pretty normal for cities to do this anywhere from every 8 to 12 years ago, or so that as we meet our goals and demographics and trends and things change, we're updating what's going on in the city and the direction we're working towards. So that's been my longstanding recommendation. Most recently, some of these higher level conversations more at the city management level seems to be leaning towards wanting to do that in-house. Typically that is a bit challenging for smaller cities, a little more limited staff time, availability, resources, expertise, and we really can't undercut having a third party coming in and looking from the outside, whereas we're all here and kind of already have that bias about maybe where we could go in the future. So yeah, so that's where we were. I know I've mentioned over the years that we hope to work towards a comprehensive plan update, so that's kind of where we're at.
Okay. Was anybody else involved in that process last time around? Gerald, were you on the board then? You don't recall? Anybody else? Would have been, I don't know, 08 maybe, 09, 2010 maybe? I remember it was a lengthy process.
Yeah.
I don't know, it had to be at least a year or more.
If I recall, the timelines in the front of it was about a year for the comprehensive plan, and then I think it was 6 months or so to update some of the codes that went with it.
Okay. All right. No other items in? You already declared you had no staff items, so I appreciate you addressing my questions and concerns. Any other questions or need for update from the rest of you? Okay. With that, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Further discussion? All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you.